but I want you to correct the mistakes on your narrative using this document, Grammar Book in a Page. And if you click on this link, and then click on the Grammar Book in a Page link, then this document will come up. And I showed you this at the very beginning of the year, but you probably forgot about it before now. But it kind of covers those major grammar rules that we covered with our packet, talking about commas and apostrophes and run-ons and all of those good things. So you'll notice that each one of these rules has a number next to it. So if you did something wrong with a hyphen, a dash, then you would see the number 23 in a comment related to the use of hyphens. If you did something wrong in relation to capitalization, so if you capitalized a word that didn't need to be capitalized, or if you didn't capitalize a word that does need to be capitalized, then you would see a 7 next to that rule. And I'll show you what I mean. I've opened up a sample narrative, and you can see when you open up yours, you'll probably see some comments. So this narrative didn't have a terrible amount of comments. Some of yours do, but that's okay. We all start somewhere. And you'll notice that in a lot of these comments, there are numbers instead of words. So if I didn't really have a number to describe what was wrong, then I would just describe the issue. So in this case, this student should have used the word who instead of that because they were talking about people. So don't really have a number for that. So all they would need to do is fix the word who. And now the comment is all gone. For the ones that do have numbers, you will have to fix those yourself. In some cases, you'll see a comment, excuse me, and it will have a check and an X. And if you press the check, you are accepting my suggestion. So in this case, I told him he needed to add the word a because he had left it out. So if you press the check, it keeps the change. If I had pressed the X, it would have removed that word, and you would have had to put in a different one. So if you have a check and an X, definitely go with the check. It'll help fix it for you. But for the other ones, the ones with numbers, you'll have to do those on your own. So let's resolve some of these things together. So here's another one where there's a check and an X, and we're just going to assume that we definitely should delete these words. So we say yes, and it gets rid of all the words. Okay, so let's resolve these comments here. So 10. So if we looked on the grammar book in a page to figure out what's rule 10, how did we screw up rule 10? Write out numbers less than 100. Aw, shucks. So anytime that you have a whole number that is less than 100, you really ought to write it out. So instead of 40, we have 40, and we would press the check, and then that would be good. The next one, 4C. So sometimes there's a number and a letter if there's a rule that has a lot of sub-rules in it. So we go to 4. So this either has to do with quotation marks or apostrophes. Then if we go down to C, apostrophe to show possession. So in all of these situations, there is an apostrophe, the comma in the sky, to show that something belongs to somebody. Okay, well, if we look up Bojangles, and you can Google this and check me, Bojangles is actually possessive. It has an apostrophe after the S, I believe. So we would add that apostrophe in there to Bojangles, something belonging to the Bojangles, whoever they are, and we would press the check. And then that one is, poof, resolved. Okay, now we have a 15. So 15 has to do with consistent verb tenses. Okay, so if we're writing something in past tense like it's already happened, well, we have to continue in past tense. We can't switch to present tense. Okay, so here, this whole essay is in past tense. Were out of there, went to get food, like things have already happened, but then we use the word is. So we need to change is to past tense. So not the only problem is everything was so expensive, but the only problem was everything was so expensive. Since it already happened, it's already over, change that to was. And we can check that off. All right. And then our last one here, 1C. Ooh, looks like maybe I screwed that up. 1C. And that's a really common comma mistake that I see all the time. Comma before a coordinating conjunction. So here's a list of the conjunctions in case you don't remember what the conjunctions are. And then here's an example. The children did not see it coming, comma, but Mr. and Mrs. Denlack got a divorce while their youngest child was still in elementary school. Okay, so there is going to be a comma that needs to go before one of our 7 conjunctions. So in this narrative, I have highlighted the conjunction. So and is one of our conjunctions. So that means our comma will go before the conjunction. Just make sure you have the spacing right so the comma doesn't get stuck out where it's not supposed to. It should be right after the previous word. All right, and then that is it for our comments here. So, aside from a few little mistakes that I didn't notice this time around, this essay is now all good to go. Yay! So, once you finish your narrative corrections, you won't need to reshare it with me because you've already shared it with me, but you can submit the website URL here, and I will check your comments and I will make sure that they are good. If they are not good, I will reopen them and you will do it again. So make sure that you consult this document, look at it very carefully, do things right the first time around, save yourself a little bit of grief. So anyways, that is all for